Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome to Soul Sister Therapy Childhood Trauma Podcast. And I am your host, Plum Queen, and great. You are in the building. Sister,
Peace.
say hey, peace, peace, peace. All right. So today, we are going to be talking about egos versus alignment. This was Queen Amisha's idea. So I'm going to let you talk to them first because, whatever was going on in your mind to bring this up, and we're going to go from there. So talk to them.
So, peace, grand risings, sending love and light to everybody this early morning. And so I wanted to talk about ego versus living in the ego versus living in alignment, because a lot of the world right now is living in ego, which means that they're living in survival mode. And so I looked up the definition of ego just to give what, the experts would say ego is. And so it says ego, the self, especially as distinct from the world and other selves. In psychoanalysis, the division of the psyche that is conscious most immediately controls thought and behavior and is most in touch with external reality. And then the exaggerated sense of self-importance, conceit, and appropriate pride in oneself, self-esteem. And so ego is good, right? Ego is supposed to be good. It's supposed to let you know when you are kind of in danger, or when the situation may not be right for you, when you may be in danger. um and so for me, I feel like ego is a lot right now. A lot of people want to call everyone egotistical, um and there's a lot of egotistical people out there, but a lot of people, when they're dealing with their ego, um it not only affects them, it affects the people around them, right? So I've watched as people's egos have literally told them that it's okay for them to be married to someone who feels their marriage is monogamous, but the male is polygamous. But because his ego told him he was polygamous before the marriage, it's okay for him to continue to cheat and to physically, emotionally, spiritually be with other women outside of his wife, because his ego is saying, well, that's who you are. And, she signed up for that. But in reality, she didn't sign up for that. She signed up to be monogamous. And so rather than ending the marriage, you're just subjecting this person to an unfulfilled relationship with you, all because your ego says, well, you know, you're entitled to this and you're married. And, that's mind blowing to me. Um, You can't, I'm trying to figure out the right way to say this. Spirit, assist me. Tamara, I'm going to let you take it for a second because I got a lot I'm trying to say and I really just say it right.
Okay. Well, I definitely agree with what you said as far as the ego. For me, I guess what I'm going to take, or what I want to bring out in this episode as far as ego versus alignment, is more so when it comes down to therapy and it comes down to helping each other heal. Because a lot of us have our own perspectives about things. And like you said, your ego is it's like the definition said, it's your self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? It's what makes you feel, you're most powerful. It boosts, it almost like your booster of who you are. So sometimes that gets out of balance. You know what I'm saying? Especially depending on, your issues. Like
And
most
how much trauma you have, how much survival mode you've had to live in.
Absolutely. So most people who have an ego, that's their defense mechanism because they're insecure in certain things. So whatever it is, I know from my experience with people and me with egos, they feel like, what I'm saying, they lack in intelligence or lack in experience in some type of way. So whatever it is that they think they do know, they just have to have it. They're going to argue it to death. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to listen to any other perspective. It just has to be that way because their perspective validates them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I get it, but I feel like that's an issue, and it stops us from actually learning and actually healing the way I feel that we need to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say for me, a lot of people think that I think nobody's ever called me egotistical,
Yeah.
but a lot of people feel that I think I'm a know-it-all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying because, I do my due diligence to say and do the right things. It's not that I'm trying to be a know-it-all, but I try to only speak about the things that I know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So sometimes it can be perceived as, and not to say that I don't ever have an ego. I'm gonna keep it real. The only time I have an ego is when people try to play me. For the most part, I can't even take a compliment. You give me a compliment, I'm going to give you the same compliment back or say that you're my reflection.
Just out of a
Yeah,
compliment.
say that's normally what I do. But when you try to play me and come for my head or whatever, that's when I can start, talking my shit and I'm this and I'm that,
Right.
whatever. So I try not to do that because that's not really my personality.
Right.
So my thing is, especially with people who want to heal, like people in our position, who are putting ourselves out there and are giving people advice, I'm saying, in some form of fashion, we have to be balanced in that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Because we have to, ask the question, are we speaking from our ego or are we speaking in alignment?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And the best way to do that, honestly, is to assess and use discernment. Like that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, because of that very reason. Because again, people can perceive me being in my ego and all that, and I don't want that. My whole purpose of giving information is so that it can be effective.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
And so what Spirit told me is not talk about other people, talk about self. Okay. So
Okay.
that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna use myself. And the lessons that I've learned dealing with my ego, okay? So with myself, um, one of the most obvious situations in my mind that comes to when I actually had to check my ego. So my previous relationship was 3 years long, and we started at the bottom together, basically. Okay, we like the apartment was so bad it got condemned. Okay. And we just wouldn't, it was that bad. And we moved up from there. We moved into well, it was a nicer apartment, definitely. And then, we moved into another nicer apartment, and then he bought a house, so we elevated together. And I knew that last year while we were elevating together that I didn't want to be with him. But my ego told me, well, you already done went through the rough parts with him. You low key entitled to the good times that y'all about to enter together, because y'all didn't struggle together. And so I had this sense of entitlement to all the good that was coming in his life along with mine, even though I didn't want to be with him,
I understand.
and, or like I left. Like my ex, he's such a phenomenal soul. He loves me so much. I left and came down to Atlanta and lived for like 6 months, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, right before COVID, basically. And like, it was still like we were kind of in a relationship, but we weren't. But like, it was to the point I was like getting mad at him if I thought that he was with another woman, even though I definitely was down here talking to other men, you know, you know,
Trying to be
that's
together.
ego. You can't
Oh,
do that. You cannot be unfair to people like that. You cannot have a possession and an entitlement to someone else's life and happiness if you know that you have no intentions on being there long term. That was me being selfish. That was me being pure selfish. You know,
mhm.
like I had to go and tell him that too. Like, it finally got to the point now where we're like really just good friends. We don't care about each other's phone. If one of us needs each other, we help each other. But that took me literally having to go to myself and be like, Misha, do you really want to be with him? No, and it's not that I love him to death. It's just we are not in alignment as much as I know that the one is for me. So,
Same.
like, okay, it's not long term. So why do you feel like he can't be with anyone else, especially if you're talking to other people? Why do you feel like you're entitled to that loyalty still from him, if especially and you're not reciprocating that? You know?
I feel like I call it the slave mentality.
Mm-hmm.
we feel, and that's what the society teaches us about marriage and relationships. This is why I don't do, normal marriage,
Hmm.
because people are not possessions. You don't own somebody just because y'all like each other. Y'all decided to, you think that you can live your lives together. Let's say that, because you don't know. Forever is a very,
Long
very
time.
long time, and divorce has proven.
One
Divorce
year is a
has
very
proven.
long time.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So my thing is we are not possessions. You cannot think that you are entitled to anything from anybody at a certain point in your life. Don't care who you are, and that means that concludes your family, that includes your kids. We all come into this world with our own journey and our own purpose.
Hmm.
Period.
Hmm.
So this is why I be telling folks, if I were to ever try to do that, I would do it now, because I've already been in my relationship over a decade.
Hmm.
I truly know what I'm getting into. And then, even with that, growth still happens. As long as you're
Yes.
alive, you grow. So I'm 37 now. I'm not going to be the exact same person that I am at 47.
Right.
And
Right.
this decade, I'm going to grow. I'm going to learn some more. I'm going to continue to fine tune myself. So I'm not going to be the same person at 47 that I am at 37. I'm absolutely not the same woman that I was when I was 27.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really truly going, with the flow. But 99% of people do what you do
Hmm.
what you did. We
Right.
get with people, we give our energy and whatever freely, mind you. It's not like it's
Yeah.
mandatory. You chose to do that, and now somehow now you're obligated to me because we exchanged energy.
Even friendships. I've seen
Even
it ruin
friendship,
friendships.
even
People don't
friendship.
know how to respect someone needing time to themselves to analyze. So I've seen it where, okay, another, I'm still gonna just talk about self, because I've had, like I said, I'm not saying I don't have an ego, because we all have egos, and I
Everybody
had
else.
a lot of freaking trauma. So I know that, like, even though my intentions have always been love, I know just out of that traumatic mindset and actions out of survival mode, my actions have always not been aligned, or yeah, with my intentions. And so even with one of my close friendships, right now we're at a point where we can go months without talking, and we're gonna answer the phone. But that first year of our friendship, we were hanging out like almost every day, you know? And then, like, we just experienced brought us both to a time where we needed self, because we were so codependent on each other's energy. We just needed time for self. So we go a whole year without talking. And, like, at first, when she would just stop talking to me, because she's a Pisces, my friend, and so when she would stop talking to me, I would automatically take it personal. Like, what did I do? I don't deserve for you not to be talking to me. Why aren't you talking to me? I need you right now. You're supposed to be answering the phone for me, lady. Where you at? I need you. Help. 911. And all of this energy I'm throwing at her, not thinking that she doesn't have the space to hold that energy for me. You know? Like, is she actually mentally and emotionally capable of helping me get through my shit right now? Or am I just adding more shit onto her because she loves me and she's gonna want to help me, but is incapable because she's trying to help herself right now?
That's,
You
that
know?
thought is that is the sign of a true friend.
Right.
When you thinking about friendships, true relationships, you think about the other person. It's get love is a service.
Unconditional.
I tell people that love is a service. It's
Mm-hmm.
truly not something that you get. It's something that you give, and it's reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
So you just shown, just you realizing that, shows the type of friend that you are. I do my due diligence to do the same thing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it come from a trauma though. I've never wanted to be a burden to my friends. I never wanted to be that person. So I take that into due diligence. I'll beat up on myself before I get upset at my friends, for not being available or whatever. That's why I had my little weekend. Because when I be feeling like I don't have anybody, I just go with them. But I can't be upset with them for that. Because, like you said, everybody got their own shit. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, a lot of the people around me got bigger shit than I got going on. You know what I'm saying? And I can't help them.
Mm-hmm.
All I can do is send out love and light. So
Right.
I can't be upset if they can't, like you said, hold space, for me and my thing. Clearly, it's
Mm-hmm.
for me to deal with.
That's another thing. Oh, sorry.
No, no, you're good. I wanted to define alignment. We
Right.
defined ego, so I wanted to define alignment. I found two definitions. So Oxford feels that the ego, no, that's the ego, not the ego. We want alignment. There we go. Alignment. So alignment. There we go. Gotcha. Alignment, meaning in life, because I looked it up, and alignment for the most part is talk about keeping things in line, talk about electronics or material things. So I wanted a definition based off life. And it says alignment is when our thoughts, life choices, and directions all honor our core values. Alignment is when we listen to our intuition and move through the world embodying our true selves. Alignment is function and action with ease. Okay. So translating that with, okay, hold up, we got somebody's thoughts. Sometimes when people have options from their, options from their ego, whether it's from broken heart or trauma, and we get a glimpse of light, we hold on to the good and don't work on the bad.
And
I
that's very,
agree.
and
That's a
that's
fact.
where a lot of
That's a fact.
possessive relationships come from too. Like my ex-husband, y'all didn't live, okay? I didn't already been married and divorced. So just in case y'all didn't know that. Me and my my ex-husband, I love that man to death. And I was like, I had that pressure put on me early in our relationship because we had a pretty big age difference. From his family, oh my gosh, you've made him smile. You've made him, the happiest. He never came around us. He's coming back out. He's smiling and laughing. And that light that I gave him, he clung on to it. And then he just drained it and sucked it and drained it and sucked it. Not really being able to comprehend the ways that I needed love, And so his ego kind of had him stuck in just the taking. Now, materialistically, he provided. I had new cars, a nice horse farm I lived on, anything I wanted. Like my daughter driving around with her little dog, her Shih Tzu. Like it was a bougie living. Bougie, though, does not do anything for my soul in reality. If I don't feel like I can sit down with you and get lost in our conversation, like if I don't feel like when I wake up, like, ooh, where daddy at? If I don't feel like that, like, like then it's not gonna last for me. But our ego, even though we know it's not a working relationship, is gonna tell you to hold on to that though, because sometimes it feels good. And you rather have sometimes of feeling good than no feeling good.
Exactly.
And that's not right. 9 times out of 10, if you release the things that don't feel good, spirit is going to bring in the things that actually are going to help you thrive and feel great.
Absolutely. That's why I always say we need to heal ourselves and get our individual self together before we get into relationships, because that's how we stop that. Because again, a lot of us get into relationships looking for someone to love us, someone to save us,
we
someone
definitely
to change
trauma
us. Yeah, that we're looking for this particular person to take care of all of the things that we can't take care of ourselves. And we have to understand that that other person is a human. So just like you're flawed, they're flawed. So they're going to come up short in some form of fashion. See what I'm saying? So putting so much stock on another person, helping you with that, you say you're doing an injustice to yourself, and you're not being fair to them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, you're supposed to help each other. Don't get me wrong. Like I said on Tuesday, I feel like I'm my king, my friends. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm their peace. So I feel responsible energetically for a lot of people around me.
Yeah,
but at the same time, back to alignment, the balance. You know what I'm saying? I understand that I don't control them. No matter how much I want to get, I can't control nobody. I don't have that much. I don't even have.
And
ultimate
in
power over
reality, you're not energetically responsible for nobody but yourself.
That's true.
That's reality.
That's reality. I want to phrase it right. I want to phrase it right
because I'm not going to allow you to carry that much weight for yourself. Because
it is my purpose, but it is my purpose to use myself to help others. I believe that.
Yes,
I have claimed that. So with that, like just like being a doctor, doctors have to deal with sick people all the time, people of all types, and they still have to deal with them regardless of how they behave. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? If your patient comes in there and don't listen to a damn thing you say, you can't bitch at them or be upset or nothing like that. All doctors can do is continue to subscribe, prescribe what
Or refer them to
should be,
another doctor. I'm
or
sorry.
refer them. Yes, you can refer them to another doctor. Yes, you can do all that, but
If it's not in alignment, it's not in alignment. I'm not gonna force it, I'm be like, okay, here's another Reiki practitioner that I think may be better aligned with your energies, you
absolutely.
know? But
Maybe in my life that just happens. See, I don't really ever have to send people away.
well, yeah, I don't either. I don't think
Most of the times, if I'm not in a if me and that person is not in alignment, they'll go
it's
away.
disappear. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll just go away. So that's why and that's why I feel like, and I think that's why I say it that way.
Because you know that the people are in your life at this point has stayed around for a reason, and so you have a
Yes.
purpose in their life, and I understand
Yes.
that. I
That's what I'm trying
understand
to
it.
say. That's what I'm
Gotcha.
trying to say. What she had said. That's
I
what I'm
like the way
trying to
that you.
say.
I like that wording better because words are powerful. So when
Yes,
you
they are.
say you're energetically responsible, I feel like that may be a little bit of your ego, and not in a bad way,
No,
but just this sense of I can carry everybody's shit.
you're
And
right.
no, that's not how it's supposed to be. Now, yes, everyone in your life right now is there for a purpose. So you are meant to fulfill whatever that purpose is, and do it with all of the love and light.
Grand
Grand
Rising.
Rise in London.
Yeah, well, thank you, because yeah, like I said, I wanna do things the right way. Your words are absolutely powerful. They are magic spells. You know what I'm saying? You will catch
Mhm.
yourself. You know what I'm saying? Every time you open your mouth. So I be wanting to phrase it right because I know what I be meaning and what I be trying to say, but sometimes it just don't be working out. But yes, ego versus alignment. So I definitely do my due diligence to work in alignment.
And so when you're working in alignment, you're gonna understand if this is a situation you're in when the relationship is over. Living in alignment, you're going to analyze everything that you've learned from that relationship. You're going to look down the path and see if that alignment is going to get too out of whack to where it's deterring you from your path. And then, if so, you're going to release the relationship. You're going to sit down and have a healthy conversation, understanding and explaining that I love you. And I'm thankful to experience that we got to experience with each other, but we are no longer in alignment. Our paths are no longer the same. And it's as simple as saying that. You don't have to, when you love someone, you don't have to tear them down in the midst of separation. You don't have to put the blame on them. There doesn't have to be anything wrong with that person for you to break up with them.
That's
You
right.
know,
That's
a
right.
lot of people want to, I've seen a lot of people where they just like they're miserable. Like one of the friends that I had, she's miserable in her relationship. So she like lives for the moments that her husband pisses her off so that she can flip out on him and have a reason to go out and do her. When you can just leave the relationship.
Leave, and you can
Yeah.
simply leave and go
you
find
know?
somebody else. But it's again the way we're taught, that ego. We're taught if you put in years, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be a waste, you know what I'm saying, if you leave. So, or I'm not about to give up on my investment.
Right.
For most people, like,
Energetically, financially,
yeah,
emotionally.
I know women, you know what I'm saying, who are married, you know what I'm saying, and know their husband cheating on them, know that their husbands don't love them. And you know what I'm saying? And this is not even to bash the husbands, just to let
Right.
y'all know.
It's just the willing of
Yeah, this is
the
why you don't
oppression that
no,
your ego will have you in.
absolutely. This is why you don't commit yourself like that to somebody that you don't know and that you're not sure of. If you
Right.
don't know who you are, then you shouldn't be committing yourself to another person because you don't know who you're gonna become.
Yeah,
What if
yeah,
what
because
if the
now
new person
you're
don't like the old person? You know what I'm
right,
saying? And now technically you're supposed to be stuck.
right.
You know what I mean? And it's not fair. There's a lot of people who do that. There's a lot of women who will pick a man, based off what they look like, based
And the
off what they got
materials.
going on, because you want
Hmm.
to be because we're taught that we need to be taken care of.
And then a year, 2 years later, you get married, and now your ass is getting slapped up every time you get money from him and living in your big old house, and you don't
Well,
have
I
no
wasn't going
friends.
there. Well, I wasn't going there.
I'm just
I
saying,
wasn't
but
going
that's
on that.
it's extreme. It can get
That
extreme.
is
Sometimes
true.
it can really mess your life up. Like you can,
That is true. I was more so leaning towards. I was more leaning towards on the fact of men, as far as trying to trap them. You know what I'm saying? And putting them in situations, you know what I'm saying? And it's not fair.
See, now because you can also, that situation I was talking about earlier, where the guy is married to the woman and she's monogamous, he's polygamous. Now, on the other scale, she knew that he was polygamous when she got married. So
And
she was saying whatever she needed to at the time to get into his big house and to get in.
so let me say this. So is he actually wrong then? Is he actually wrong for what he's doing if she was well aware of who she was marrying and you chose to marry him for his money? I'm gonna give you an
I
example.
don't know.
I've been binge watching The Sopranos. Anybody that know that the Italian movie about about the mob or whatever. Carmela is a great example of that. Carmela knew that she known that man since she was in high school. They were high school sweethearts. She knew that man was a part of the mob. She knew that the money and the
Was
jewelry
all
and the
dirty.
dates and all that, she knew all that shit was dirty. She knew somebody could have either got beat up or died. You know what I'm saying? Based off of the bread that he was giving her, and you married him anyway. So now you're 30 years in, and now you're trying to judge him and somehow he's supposed to change into somebody else.
Even
You
though you
know, in
was
the
okay
mob,
with it,
they
all
got
these.
what they call them, gumas.
Mm.
That's a part of the life. You knew what you were signing up for, and then you want to play victim after the fact. You signed up to live in that mansion, to be able to dress in Armani and Gucci and whatever while you walking around your house and do completely nothing. You signed up for that. You didn't sign up for love
Mm.
and admiration and
Honesty,
loyalty,
morals.
the morals. You didn't sign up for that. So and a lot of us do that.
Mm-hmm.
We look at a man, see what he has as far as stability goes and how that's going to keep us stable. And once we take that, now we're expecting them to switch up and be the lover and the romance
That you was
and all that other stuff.
and that's not fair. It's
And it
not
don't
fair
work
at
that way.
all.
It's not even about even being fair. It don't work that way.
Well,
Fair
but
or not,
sometimes
it
it
don't
will.
even work
It
that way.
depends on the soul that you get. If you get the right little empath, that's just a lover, because that's me. My relationships, I just lose myself and get engulfed in my person and what they have going on and then their jobs and their dreams and so that does happen sometimes, but that's when I say it's not fair, is because you can't expect somebody to not be their self to be with you.
That's a fact.
You know?
That's a fact.
Like that's where it's not fair. That's the reality. That's your
That's true.
ego saying that that's fair, but it's not.
It's
That's
not.
not you actually being in alignment with truth.
Yep, that's
Because truth is that everyone is supposed to be themselves, and then like energies attract.
that's right.
You know? You're
That's
not
right.
supposed to go conforming and changing yourself for nobody.
That's right.
Like when I went on this date yesterday, usually I have my locks, when I go on a date, I like do my little crown with my locks and try to get the regal look. But yesterday my locks was like, we want to be wild. We don't want to be hanging over your face. And I was like, but it's the first date. Like that's a little wild for the first date. And it was like, girl, you going to TGI Fridays. And I did it. And then first off, the person didn't look nothing like the freak. I'm pretty sure I got catfish. Pretty sure I got
You
catfish.
said I'm pretty sure I got catfish.
I mean, to the point that I was looking for locks. I was looking for locks, and it was like balding, patchy gray hair.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
See, I'm out of the dating scene. I got to where I found my man on MySpace. So
it's so toxic. On MySpace.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, good old MySpace.
I don't got to do the cat. I don't got to worry about the catfish thing. You know what I'm saying? No more. Because
I really think that's the first time I ever felt catfish. Like,
I don't understand why that's still even
and
a
then he had
thing.
the
Like,
nerve to be
especially
like
after
he
that
was
TV
6.
show they had. Is that TV show still on? I hope not. Because how do you get bamboozled nowadays?
Oh,
It's
girl,
too
it's
much
still on.
FaceTime. But my thing is like, we'll see. Well, I will say that's the lesson. It's too much FaceTime. It's too many ways
To
nowadays for
see.
you to see a person. You know what I mean? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, when I first met my king, I really wasn't sure what he looked. He sent me a picture of him with some glasses on, so he had just a normal face with some glasses on. So I can't even say that I recognized him.
Yeah.
So I lucked up. It was the same person that he said he was. So I lucked up. But
Good thing.
it's just that'd be a lot. But back to circling back to egos and alignments. Like I said, my biggest thing that I wanted to bring forth in this episode, because as a healer and just thinking about what I've been putting out lately, and this goes for myself as well. Always when you're giving advice and being the therapist, this is why I don't call myself a life coach.
Right.
I don't like I don't say I won't like the word, and I don't knock anybody who considers themselves as such. But my thing is, everybody has a different life. Everybody
Mm.
has different morals, like the definition of alignment says. Alignment is being in alignment with your core,
Your
core
right.
values, your core values. So,
Not American society
right.
or your
And not
families.
even or your traumas.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, our perspectives comes from our lens, our experiences, and how we see things. So when you're giving advice or you're going to be a healer or being someone of that nature, you have to take that into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be in alignment. You really can't move in your ego because everybody is different.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right. And so if your ego, if you're living in your ego as a therapist, this is what I was going to say. A lot of doctors and therapists right now are in their egos because they went to school for however many years they did and they read these books. Now, in reality, these books that they read were created by the same people who have created every other educational system and all these other books, and that, have proven that may not actually help at all. But because they memorized it, they took the time to memorize all of this information, where whether it be absolute or not, their ego tells them, I'm more qualified than anybody else, even though I may not have a zero experience in anything that any of my clients go through,
I'm
which is
glad you
really where the lessons of how to overcome the
glad
stuff
you
comes
said that.
from,
I'm glad you said that.
you know.
Mhm.
But that's
No, go ahead. Sorry.
no, you're good. I was just gonna say, that's just that's just another way that I've seen ego coming out a lot when it comes to our society is the high horses that we put the medical, in for what? Because like they say, they're practicing medicine. Like I've worked in these ORs with them. I know how many times people almost get killed in the surgeries and never get told. How many people are getting fake back replacements right now in Lexington, Kentucky by crooked doctors and never needed the back replacement. They just had false procedures done, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like
I'm not
we
going.
have to, but the only way that they can get off of their ego trip is if we as a society stop relying on them so much and realize that we have way more power in our health than we'll ever have given it to them.
That's a fact. We feed their egos because
Mm-hmm.
we don't know our own bodies. We make them our gods and
Mm-hmm.
that light. You know what I'm saying? Something goes wrong with us, we have to go to them to fix it, whether they know how to fix it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And what you said earlier about this is what I won't, like I said, I won't completely just dismiss therapy because, therapy is definitely, important. And I would even say it's important to understand how they think because they run this world and we live in this world and they have programmed us. So understanding how we're programmed and how people think will be a better way. It will help us, you know what I'm saying, actually help them.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say therapists should link up with, I'll say, people like us.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, you are any people who study things, ologists. That's ology is the study of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ologist is a person who studies.
Right.
So you are in turn studying somebody, doing research on people who
That's
are
not
dealing
knowing
with these
people.
issues. So
Mm-hmm.
you're coming from an observation perspective. You're not living that.
Right.
It's a completely different thing to watch somebody go through something than actually going through it.
Right.
So no, a therapist is not more qualified than me to speak about being an amputee or
Right.
having abandonment issues.
Right.
A
Or
therapist is not more
molestation
qualified than
or
me because
rejection.
I did
Yeah.
right. They're not more qualified than me because I have dealt with that my whole life.
I literally, when I was a little girl, I told the therapist that I was being molested. I think that Rich Risings, peace, Tanya. I think the therapist was the first person that I told that I was being sexually abused, and nothing came out of that. I will never forget that. I remember telling the lady when I was in foster care, and didn't nothing happen. I don't even know if she told my foster parents, you know. Because I don't think they knew until like a year later when I was at church camp and I told the church camp people again, and then they, you know, um, so yeah, it's
So many variables, and remember, therapists are humans. Like
yeah, and
back
that's exactly what we have to think.
back to
We
the
have to remember.
Sopranos, Tony's therapist was seeing a therapist. I'm gonna say this, like people who have who have therapists. Do you know if your therapist sees a therapist?
Right. That's a
Well,
great question.
straight up. Like, and I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, straight up, you're going to somebody that you know you pay, and y'all paying out the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are paying these people $100, $200 an hour to help you fix your life, and then after they sit there and tell you some shit, they go and sit in somebody's chair,
Or they don't.
or they
Or they
don't,
don't. They're not dealing
or
with that
they
shit
don't.
because they dealing with everybody else's stuff.
That's a fact. So again, there's so many variables, you know what I'm saying, to the situation. Like again, so I'm not knocking it, but this is why I feel like, you know, it should come from all
And this
sources.
is why I don't feel bad, like you said, about speaking about things. That's why Spirit wanted me just to talk about my experience. Because I'm not going to pretend like I'm freaking professional in ego. I just know how ego has affected my life and the importance of checking your ego. You know, that's all I know. And so, yeah, I think that's awesome to be able to like to differentiate that. And I challenge people just to learn their bodies, you know, learn your body for yourself. If you feel like you have anxiety, look up natural herbal ways to help with anxiety. You know, if
Take
you have a
control of your
sleeping
life.
disorder, before you go to doctors, just try to find a natural remedy first, no matter what it is that you're going through. If you are going through anything physically, emotionally, mentally, with your health, I promise that if you just look up, don't just go to the doctor, just look, just take like 30 minutes. It's not even 30 minutes. That's what it takes you to get to the doctor. You can take that time and just do some simple research on holistic ways to help with the symptoms that you're going through. You know?
That's a fact. You gotta take control of our lives. You say you're free. We say we're free, and we say free will and all this other stuff, but you're really not. We're pretty much slaves to everything around us. We don't take responsibility for ourselves in anything. And this is why, you know, stuff like this happens. You know what I'm saying? This is why pandemics happen. This is why you have people in office that you know saying that you don't want, and all these things are going around, and we have no control over it because you put your life and everything in it in the hands of other human beings. I
Right.
don't care nothing about laws and legislation. These are human beings creating this stuff using their perspective, their
But they're
morals,
not.
they're doing what they're doing based off of how they feel.
Well, I
Yeah,
know.
they are. They're
No,
making these
you're right.
laws.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying we're not dealing with humans. This is where I don't even continue this
Oh,
narrative anymore. I'm
okay.
not even going to continue this narrative anymore because we keep seeing it as, oh, we're dealing with the government versus us. We're dealing with Republicans versus Democrats. We're dealing with blacks versus whites. No, you're dealing with a spiritual warfare. There is purely dark souls who have no good and intention for the citizens and the humans on this planet. And then there's us. That's the only division there is, you know? And so you have to realize the schools, the hospitals, the restaurants, all of this is for your detriment. Most of it is not for your betterment. It is to take away your soul, your light, your happiness. It is so that you die before you're 75 years old and you can get your retirement. It's not, this world isn't scary. It's a game. And it's like Mario Kart or something. I don't know. There's obstacles. They have obstacles placed all over. And if you don't have that foresight to be able to see it coming and how to avoid it, you're going to fall into it, you know? And so
Life is chess. They've created like life is a chess game. And
that's what I
you gotta
really
play
have
it.
to. I'm going to start this other podcast because we deal with childhood trauma on this one, but I really just need to get this message out. Like, we got to stop giving so much attention and energy to this system because that is what's giving them life. None of this is actually functioning anymore. None of these people are actually in control anymore. But because we are so in ego, our egos is telling us you got to go to work every day. You got to pay these bills. This government, you got to vote, even though you know the voting isn't helping. You got to get taxes. You got to buy a house and apply for loans, and
Our pleasure and duty. That's what we're here for.
peace. So we really have to get it, like, and I know most of y'all aren't, because it's just not y'all's journey this life. I'm like a crazy village lady right now, but one day y'all will feel what I'm saying. Okay, our egos as a whole is so out of whack that there's a potential Antarctica isn't a country, but a freaking wall around us. And our military, even though some of the military knows this, they still will shoot any civilian that comes near that wall just because that's what their superiors told them to do.
Yep, they got to protect.
Like,
so that's how that works. But to segue that back to it, it's all again egos versus alignment. You have to understand. You have to understand that we've been lied to about everything.
pretty much.
That's how you strip away the ego, understanding that most of the things that you've been taught are not true. So now you have to get into alignment with
With your
that
truth.
and
With your
figure
truth.
that out. Yeah, and figure that out. Figure yourself out. Figure out what's true for you. Figure out what feeds your soul. You know what I'm saying? And that is the best way to honestly even embrace, to even have the mind to think about the stuff that you're talking about right now.
Right, true.
You see what I'm saying? See, again, most people can't even get to the whole I'm not possessive of another person. So the shit you talk about right now is rainbows and Skittles, because you know what I'm saying? Because we are still in
I
the
have to
mind
give it in.
that other people are our possessions.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we really gotta strip our ego in
Yeah.
all ways and one, understanding that we don't know shit. A wise man knows that he knows nothing
Nothing
at all.
at all.
When you realize that you don't know shit, that's when it starts. That's why when people say it, then think that I think I know it all. I promise you, I know
We
for a
don't think I know anything, because
fact.
every day
I
this
know for
game
a fact that
changes.
I don't know shit.
Yes.
Trust me, like I'm forever a student. I promise.
Yes. And
I'm,
I love that. It's
I'm
okay to
just
be
a
a
cheat
student.
sheet for y'all. Like, if anything, I'm just a cheat sheet. I'm learning
Yeah.
this shit so I can pass it on back
Pass it
to
on.
y'all. It's really what it is. But yeah, I don't know.
And that's my explanation for every obstacle that I went through in life. I only went through it so that I could help other people who weren't strong enough to get through it by themselves.
That's it.
And so
That's it. Well, I think we've covered that ego, versus alignment. So, and again, not to say that your ego is bad. It's there for everything that you have is there for a reason. So again, you need that self esteem. You know what I'm saying? You need to know who the fuck you are, and you need to, what I'm saying, walk in that. But it's always in balance. You have to understand also that you are a part of the whole, and you are supposed to be in alignment with everything else around you. Once you embrace that, you know what I'm saying, you can ebb and flow through the ego and your alignment so it can work as, what I'm saying, the way it's supposed to in the journey.
Yeah, because your ego, if you do it right, it can be, Beyonce got a whole song about her ego. Her ego makes her all types of money,
And yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I mean, that confidence is attractive. You know what I'm saying? That's what a lot of us are attracted to. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as far as men go, like, I love a man who knows who he is and stands in that stature and don't take no shit. Yeah, that's sexy as fuck.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but it's again,
Girl.
you just can't. Yeah, you just can't be a bastard about it. You just can't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's when it's too much. It's when
Right.
it's tough. So everything in balance. But all right, sis, tell them where they can find you.
Don't pull up the card, girl, because the card's just all over the place. Guys, find me at Instagram at The Energy Model. You can find me on my email at mishashealinglove@gmail.com, Facebook at Misha's Love Tribe, and on TikTok at Celestial Reiki 33. And then, yes, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. and Thursdays at 9 a.m. here. And then as soon as we get these other shows going, if you guys are into my deep talk, because it gets deep, if you're into it, I'm about to start doing my shows and podcasts for that. So stay tuned.
All right. And you're going to find those podcasts on Inspire Media Network on Roku TV. Okay. Make sure you go to Walmart, pick you up one if you ain't got one already. They $24.99. Go and get you one. Inspire Media Network on Roku TV. Because that's where you can find our SolSista Therapy Child of Trauma podcast every Tuesday at 8 p.m. and every Thursday at 9 a.m. You can catch Sundays with Spirit with 33 Master Teacher every Sunday night at 9 p.m. because nobody does tarot like we do tarot. Yeah, that's our line. I don't know if she watching, but that's our line, girl. All right. Also, we have Amspire interviews where we interview all the amazing people in the world. We are not the only awesome folks, so we want to give them exposure and send them on to you. So Amspire interviews. If you are someone who would like to be on Amspire interviews, definitely hit us up so we can get you on there. And just like Queen Misha wants to go and talk her shit, this is my podcast. I talk my shit. Tell True Vision, Social Media Live with Plump Queen. This is where I tell my simple, you know what I'm saying, but unapologetic truth. So you might rock with it, you might not, but either way, you will be informed. I can promise you that. So
Yes.
definitely tune in for those. Okay, if you are a content creator, we have spaces for you. We are looking for people who have their own podcasts, who have their own films, who have their own music. You know what I'm saying? We are trying to make this platform bigger than Netflix. That is the goal. We want to make sure we want to have something for us and by us. You know what I'm saying? That's popping and that's different. It's entertaining, it's healing, it's everything that you could want, you know what I'm saying, on Tell Truth Vision. All right. So we have our podcast packages coming. Make sure you hit us up at 478-318-6933 or email us at amspirecontent999 at yahoo.com. We definitely have a lot of advertising packages to go along with our podcast. So make sure you guys, tune into that. All right, that's all we have. We love, love, love y'all. And we are going to see y'all again on Tuesday night for some more of this childhood trauma podcast healing with the SolSista. We love, love, love y'all.
Peace.
Peace.